Christ is King! Christ is King! Christ is King! Christ is King!
Christ is King! Christ is King! Christ is King! Christ is King!
Christ is King! There is an authority higher for us than the Parliament. There is an authority greater than us, than the liberal media, and that is our Lord Jesus Christ. And we won't surrender our heritage, our culture, or our religion to those that seek to make us second-class citizens as dhimmis in our own land. Thousands of years ago, Christians fought to defend one another against oppression and persecution. And right now, our brothers and sisters in Egypt, in Armenia, in Lebanon, in Syria, in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in Pakistan, are all suffering under the yoke of Sharia law. We must not allow Sharia law in the United Kingdom. We must stand with our brothers and sisters around the world in the name of Christ, because Christ unites black and white, white and Asian, Asian and American. He unites us under a single banner, the banner of the cross. And so, I say, and I want you to join with me in saying that it isn't Parliament that is King, or Charles that is King, but Christ who is King. Christ is King! Christ is King! Christ is King!
Christ is King! Christ is King! Christ is King! Christ is King! Christ is King!
And not that I am worthy of being followed, but if you want to watch some interesting debates, you can find my channel on Bob of Speaker's Corner on YouTube. But I'm really not worthy to share a stage with this man, who I want to give a personal thanks to, because in the north of England, as all of you well know, thousands of children were being raped and no one was willing to talk about it until this man forced all of them to talk about it. And so I am personally grateful for what he did, and that's why I'm willing to share a stage with him.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? We shall be joined by a guest momentarily, one of which who is sending me rather aggressive messages, so we'll have it out with him when he comes on. I hope you are all doing well. Today is a marvelous Friday. The date is the 5th of September 2025, and today's subject, I understand, is a very controversial one. I entitled it Israel versus Palestine. Who should we support? Join the debate. But without further ado, we've got somebody that I'm sure you recognize as our first guest. Right?
Who's that? Who's that? Me? Oh, thank you for the introduction.
How are
How
you?
you doing? I don't know. Just in a conversational mood. Want to have a good conversation.
Before I decide if I want to be friendly with you today or not, are you still a lefty?
Listen here, that left-leaning blood, in my corner, never goes away.
What's the answer?
Yes, I am still lefty on certain issues, and right on others. I think that's not a bad space to be honest with you, like having both. Rather than you, who's just full-on right.
Well, I actually don't. I genuinely don't kind of assign myself to this left-right paradigm. If I'm honest, naturally I am a liberal, but because everything's gone so far left, I actually haven't moved my position. I'm just kind of seen to be more to the right. But anyway, we've got somebody else joining. I don't know who this person is. I've no idea, but we're going to find out.
Oh, hey.
Who's that?
Just a random. I found your stream. Just figured if it's okay for me to join.
Yeah, of course it is.
Do you want to cover him just in case he becomes one of those trolls who flash themselves?
Don't worry.
Yeah. So, what is your?
Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what your stance is, and we'll take it from there, mate.
Oh, no worries. So you can call me Bear. My stance is I'm partial to both sides because I think they've got valid points on both, but also egregious things as well. But for me, I would say that we should not support a side until we've reached a point where we can, have disposable international income.
Go on, expand on that. Define disposable financial income, and why do you think we need to have disposable financial income?
It's a case of we don't even have to have that. But I was saying if we were going to give money to another, we as a country should be in a state of near utopia where we do have spare money laying around where we can go, yes, have this.
Correct. I agree with you.
Yeah, look after you. I was just in Stratford the other day. I'm from East London, and you got homeless people all over the place in little encampments, cardboard box. I mean, if you've got people in your own land struggling with food banks and people being homeless, then you've got to look after people here first before you can start looking after people outside. It doesn't really make sense.
I think Bear specifically saying the billions that we sent, for example, over to Ukraine, the billions that we've sent to other foreign governments, partly to kind of prop up wars and battles and civil wars.
Even India money.
Absolutely, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So if that is what Bear's saying, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, I completely agree, because not only is it morally incorrect to fund murder, which is exactly what war is, but of course you have to look after your own people first, and once we are ready as a nation, then we're going to be more equipped and willing to go out and help other nations.
Bear, can I ask you a question? Did Manny pay you to come on to agree with him?
No, I wish. I need the money now.
All right. You've done a good job. It's almost like your doppelganger.
I've never
in terms of mentality. All right.
All right. So what else do you want to say, Bear? Tell us. Give Raj some ammunition, because I can see he's raring to go to share his opinion.
No, I'm actually in a very kind of zen place at the moment. I'm trying to build bridges and be the peacemaker. Not my usual. I'm almost at odds with people. So yeah, you caught me in a good day.
No, I mean I've got a spicy take that might ruin your day, but
go on then, tell me, man. I want a good little.
So don't worry, it's safe for the stream. It's not bad. I would say we could have a one-state solution for Israel and Palestine, but neither Israel or Palestine is the ruling state party.
Okay, I mean that's not unreasonable, let's say.
But everybody seems to be living fine in Israel's side. It's just on the Palestine side that seems to have the issue, right?
Was that for me then? Like, do I have?
You're kind of cutting out a bit.
Yeah, sorry about that. What was that again? Sorry, mate.
I was making a statement to see if you guys agree that everybody seems to be able to live together on the on the Israel side, but nobody seems to be able to live together on the Palestine side.
Yeah, it mostly with Israel just because of how militarized it is, so no one wants to kick off. But with the Palestinian side, it's not to mention there's a lot more turmoil, especially because there's settlers coming in and stuff, so they scrap like crazy.
So do you guys view the battle as Jews versus Islam, Judaism versus Islam? Do you guys view the war like that, or do you strictly view it as Israel government versus Palestine?
I personally, because we have had this conversation before about Israel Palestine, but we've left out last time the component that I think a lot of people don't want to talk about or don't want to acknowledge, which is the religious side and the importance of Jerusalem and Israel in all three Abrahamic faiths in the end time. So each end time prophecy, from Christianity to Islam to Judaism, all have Jerusalem as its key point. And the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the Temple Mount, whatever you want to say, all of those religions have those at the key kind of point that's going to kick off World War Unit 3, basically, right? And the Messiah returning. And I think if you don't take that into account in this conflict, you will never understand the fact that it's never going to get resolved, because you have people on the extremes of both sides that truly believe in this, right? And I'm not going to say whether it's true or not. I just want to try and discuss that as well at some point.
Yeah. Wait for Jordan. He's got a lot to share with you. But my question to you both was, do you two view the war as Judaism versus Islam, or do you strictly view it as Israel versus Palestine?
I would say it's definitely got heavy elements of Judaism versus Islam, because you could go back to the founding of Islam when it was all the refugees of like the Holocaust. It was all Jews who, and then their formed the land caused issues. And then as it's gone on, there's been multiple sides and multiple factors where religion is the proponent of that.
Well, I'll tell you why I asked that question, because if you view the war, this is my opinion, you don't have to agree with me, by the way. If you view the war as Judaism versus Islam, then as a non-Muslim, surely common sense prevailing in terms of what's happened historically, you probably should side with Judaism, because from what Islamic empires and regimes do and have done in the past, it's not good for anyone that's not Muslim.
See, I get your point there, but the problem with that is that you can use it on the flip side and say, oh, well, look what, like, there's been like loads of rebellions by the Jews in the past and what they did. That's why I stick by my thing of, have a one-state solution, but have a third party running the show. Because if it's one ruling factor over the other, it's just going to continue onwards. Whereas if you have a third party, they won't let any side mess around.
Yeah, but the third party then has to be totally impartial. And that's where you're going to also have an issue, right? Because who is that going to be? Who is going to be that person that can kind of... Actually, it should be me. So if Israel and Palestine want a ruler, I should be him, because I think I am in the middle. Like, okay, I believe that the state...
Okay, Emperor Raj, before we start...
No, but I do. But I'm saying that in terms of mindset, I think my mindset about, how I see the Middle East is probably the most pragmatic.
But where is it an example of something like that existing?
There isn't. No, because both sides, well, obviously Hamas, now I'm going to say, I truly believe Hamas is a terrorist organization. And I think the whole aim of the October 7th attack was to create mayhem. And what Israel has done, and I've been a supporter of Israel, I think the Jews need their own homeland because of the amount of oppression they've suffered. But Israel has fallen straight into the trap And they're saying they don't care about dying or death. In fact, death is what they want. What they really wanted was a PR war, and they've done it. They've won it. There are people now outright siding with Hamas over Israel, and I think it's going to backfire on Israel long term. They will win the war, but they won't win the PR money.
It's only the far left. And
No. I've met people. No money.
Who are siding
No, it's
with
not.
Hamas, and they've
It's
always
not.
sided with Hamas.
No, people that are, I'm not saying people are siding with Hamas. Yeah, those people are complete retards. I'm talking about people are siding with the Palestinians. And what's happened is that even people that were pro-Israel are now going, hold on a second, they've gone too far, right? And they need to back off. And I'm one of those type of people. But obviously, I'm a bit more knowledgeable on the situation. So I'm not going to say that, Hamas is anything apart from an evil organization. But they are being pushed.
So let me ask you a question. Was it not too far for Hamas to come over the border, rape the women, kill the people, and then drag people off over the border?
100%.
Was that not too far?
100% totally evil. And anyone that says they didn't do it is lying. I've seen videos, uncut videos, and I've seen them dragging old people onto bikes, kids, and committing the most atrocious crimes. Yeah, and Israel had every right to retaliate, right, and to get justice. But there comes a point, like I said last time, where justice then turns into revenge, right? And there has to be a limit. And I'm sorry, I think they passed that. I think they passed it like a year ago.
I saw somebody on a debate, a Jewish chap, and this chap pointed out that the opposition in Palestine saying they would never stop until every single one of them, i.e. the Jewish people, were annihilated. So in order to prevent that, when should the Israeli state put a stopper?
Well, the thing is, in order to defeat the devil, you don't become the devil.
True, good point.
Yeah, you still have to show your enemies that you are the one in the right. Yeah. Now, one way to show that you're just is to be merciful, right? Mercy is a form of being just, because somebody who has the power to do something, but says, okay, I am not going to use my entire power. It's like let's say somebody like Mike Tyson gets hit by a little guy, tiny little 4-foot guy, and he decides not to hit him back. That is showing mercy, in it, because he will have the power to do what he wants to do, right? And Israel is that power. It has the power to do what it wants. It could completely annihilate the whole of Palestine within a day if it really wanted to. But obviously they've held back a bit in order to kind of try not to cause as many casualties.
Is that mercy or not?
There's a level of mercy that they've shown, right? But that mercy, I think, was wasted around a year ago. Like, they were showing mercy up to a point, but once you have like thousands of children dying, right? I don't care. I know somebody like Banksy will go, oh, well, they're culpable as well. They don't know. Children are innocent, right? And they shouldn't be suffering because of the actions of their elders, right? They're still innocent, no matter what anyone says.
Yeah, good point. Bear, did you want to come in? Do you agree with Raj? What's your take on it? Do you also think Israel has gone too far? Do you think they're justified considering what they've put up with?
I agree in the sense of like retaliation. They should retaliate. But as Raj said, I do also believe there is a limit. It's just a case of we have to find what that limit is, because someone will have one view where it's like, there is no limit, do whatever you want. Or someone else will say, well, they can arrest them, but that's all they can do. So we have to come together and agree on what the limit is.
Well, I think Israel is in a rock and a hard place. There's no doubt about that. Like, whatever they do, it's gonna be difficult, right? My thing is that I think Hamas laid a trap, and Israel fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And what has happened now is that Israel is now seen as a pariah, and Hamas in some quarters, obviously I totally disagree with them, are now being kind of touted as some sort of freedom fighters, right?
By whom?
By lots of people, lots of people.
Like who?
Are you turning into an owl? I can't.
No, like who?
I can't. I mean, I don't want to say names, but there are people that I've heard, like kind of mainstream, kind of pundits and stuff like that, who've also said that, you know, they've gone too far, right? And there's some others that are outright.
No. I was asking you who is referring to the Hamas fighters as freedom fighters. You said.
Yeah, a lot of people on the left, you know, people that you obviously should have more sense, are now kind of spouting this. Well, any means are necessary, in order to, because they believe that the Palestinians are, people from Palestine are like kids, and so, you know, they're big bad, you know, Jews are like bullying them, and and they believe that, you know, that any form of kind of like, you know, kind of retaliation is now justified, right?
I was gonna say, you've just, so I work in a city centre, and I work over the road from like a big monument, and it's used as like a meetup point for a lot of like marchers and protesters. There was a Palestinian one, and I was just looking at the window because I was like curious. Someone had a sign that said Hamas is the new IRA, implying that Hamas and the IRA are like freedom fighters. And I was just like, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, even the IRA had a little bit of kind of like compassion. They used to sometimes ring up places and say, look, with Hamas, they don't have no compassion. They don't care if it's kids, old people, you name it. Everybody's fair game for Hamas. So I think Hamas is basically they basically have destroyed Gaza, right? And they don't care about human life. That's the thing. If you read about Hamas, for them the greatest thing is death, right? It's basically a death cult. So for them, like after October the 7th, you know, with Israel going in, they knew they were going to go in hard, and for them, that's what they wanted.
So who is financing Hamas? Is it Iran? Is it who is it? Is it Qatar? Who's financing them?
Definitely Iran. They're definitely financing. There's no doubt about that. Even though they're Shia, but yeah, because it's just a mix of people. I don't know exactly who, but I do know Iran's one of the main.
There's quite a lot of countries, even Chechnyas, giving them something on the back end.
Yeah, but either way, children are suffering, right? In Gaza, you know, and you can't kind of like ignore that and say, okay, because of what Hamas done, that it's okay. You know, most of the people in Gaza at the moment are young people and kids and stuff as well. I know people can say, no, it's not. It's all, yeah, look, obviously there's going to be people that are fighting and stuff for Hamas or whatever, but a lot of the population is now very young.
I think it's very difficult to. I think there's, like we said at the beginning, or what, like you guys said, there's pros and cons on both sides. You know, there's justification for Israel. However, people now feel is gone too far. But what's the solution? Because, you know, no one can blame Israel for you know, acting the way it has. But what's the solution? Because Israel clearly has enough evidence to say Palestinians or Hamas will not stop. And this is not just a one-off thing. Israel believes that it's the entire system, and therefore they have to go after Iran and many others. So what is the solution?
There's no easy solution, but I don't think what they're doing is the right way, right? It's just there's one thing going to war with Iran, which is a country which has got a military and stuff, but fighting against Gaza, where you have large swathes of women and children and stuff, it's always gonna be a lose-lose situation for Israel. They're in a rock and a hard place.
So where do the people go then? Do they come over to the UK?
Who?
The people that are caught in the middle, where should they go?
Well, the Gazans.
No, the Palestinians as the war's going on.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if the war needs to stop, in my opinion, I think Israel has done whatever it wanted to do. It's done it, and there has to be a time when you have to say, okay, we're going to have to kind of call it quits. And I'm not saying move on totally, but you can't keep on bombing and bombing and bombing. I mean, how long can you do that for?
If Israel just like kept bombing and then took over, I would disagree with that, because that's basically what Germany did. They just bombed something and then went, yeah, that's ours now.
Yeah, and I know people are not going to like what I'm going to say next, but I do think it needs to be said sometimes. I do think, Israel, the Jewish people have suffered a lot, especially during World War II. And, I think they need to understand that whether they like it or not, there is a kind of standard put upon Israel that maybe other countries don't have put upon them, because the state of Israel, and the reason why, I agree with Israel being a state is because I think the Jewish people have gone through a lot and they need a country where they can call home in case it happens again. Now, you don't want the country that has been set up as a kind of a safe haven for Jews to then be a country that is actually persecuting another group, right?
Yeah, and it's not just Palestinians that are targeting Jewish people. It's Iran.
Sorry to cut you off. Bit of chaos going on at mine. Thanks for having me on the stream, and take care, guys.
Anyway, take care. Can you, but before, if anyone else can you play that bit about Tommy Robinson?
Yeah.
And that guy, because I was listening to you yesterday and nearly spat my food out. Are you going on the 13th?
I might do, might not.
All right. Yeah. If you do record it or live stream it, or is Banksy going to do that anyway?
Are you not going?
No, I've got other things to do.
Like what?
Don't worry about that. Don't be nosy. You could then everyone say, "Oh, it's not that important today." To me, I've got certain things I need to do. Right? I just don't want to. I don't know, man. I just don't like all these kind of street movements and all that kind of stuff. I just find sometimes they're kind of like counterproductive. But maybe this one might be quite good. I don't know. Where is it?
That's usually me. I'm usually. I would say we're not anti-Muslim, for starters. I don't have an anti-Muslim view. Yeah, Muslims are individuals and people. I do have an opinion on Islam. What do I think? I think on the 13th of September, you're going to see us unify Britain. When I say unify Britain, I had a meeting yesterday with Sikh organisations. I've had 2 meetings this week with Sikh organisations. Organisations that we've covertly and secretly worked with for the last 15 years. We've worked and partnered up in dealing with grooming gangs, in dealing with racist attacks that they've faced. I'll give you an example. When I was leading the English Defence League in Essex, the Sikhs have a summer school. At that summer school, they were coming under attack by gangs of young kids on the estate. 30, 40 youths on a Friday night were smashing the windows, attacking them, calling them terrorists, and chanting EDL. And back then, this is during the English Defence League days, the Sikhs had rang me. I'd gone down onto the estate on a Friday night with some of the lads, met the kids, and they're like, Tommy, I said, what's going on with the summer school? And they said, oh, they're fucking terrorists. I said, lads, they're not terrorists, man. Do you know the history of them? And it's just education. And after sitting with the kids, we then brought all the kids up to the Sikh summer school as the Sikhs come out and totally broke down that barrier. Yeah, because there's a lot of barriers. Now, what you're going to see us do is unify Britain. And for the purpose, and the reason I had the meeting with the Sikhs yesterday, they're concerned. Their community are concerned. Because this anti-migrant sentiment, which is now exploding against mass immigration, their concern is that it's not just against bad migrants. It's not just against those that have come and taken liberties and taken the piss in Britain. They're worried, and we're actually seeing it. I know there's been a lot of attacks against Indians in from what I'm seeing. Yeah, I haven't gone down the rabbit hole on it across Europe. Now, so what we will do, so I had a meeting with the Sikhs and said, I believe it's imperative that you show where you stand on this issue. And that Sikhs, and they have always done this anyway. Every one of our events are Sikhs, yeah? But I believe you need Sikh representation speaking at our event. I believe you need black representation speaking at our event, which we will have, and we do have. Now, I have spoke to a Muslim lady about coming to our event, whether they do or not. But my issue with Britain and what we want to do, and when you're talking about how people uniting against the control element of the government, the betrayal of the government, I think what we're seeing, I'm excited with what I'm seeing because I've waited 15 years for this. Yeah, in the sense that I've been banging my head against the wall sometimes, trying to warn the public about problems that I know are coming, and people didn't want to listen to them or didn't want to accept them because it might burst the bubble of their life. And I could see all this, and it wasn't because I had a crystal ball; it was because I was born in Luton Town. So I'd looked at Luton Town.
Pause it.
I know,
Please.
growing up in one of the most diverse towns in Britain, I know what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah. First of all, everyone is fighting whatever. Ezra Levant, a Jew from Jewish news group, hasn't been spared. Look, it's one Jewish person spearheading a campaign in Canada. It doesn't mean all Jews are responsible for spearheading a campaign against Sikhs in Canada. You know, this narrative, just because one Jew does something, that then all the Jewish community has to be held responsible, is completely ludicrous. And it's the only group that I know that this kind of logic is kind of accepted wholesale, which is anti-Semitism in itself, because you're trying to say that one bad apple means that all of them are bad apple, right? And that obviously is not true. Now, when it comes to Tommy Robinson and the Sikh organization, I think I know who he's talking about, which two. Won't say who, but I think it's pretty clear cut. If they do go, I mean, yeah, I think it's a good thing for the Sikh community to kind of show that, look, we are a community that wants to be a net positive to the UK. We don't have to agree with everything in terms of, like, the past or even everything that, Tommy Robinson stands for. But do we want to live in the UK in a safe and prosperous country? Of course we do. We should do. Everyone should do if you've got any common sense. I hope the thing does go without any kind of hiccups of violence or anything or racism. Yeah, I hope it does go by without any, because I think it's going to be a bad look if it doesn't. I mean, what do you think?
So I just want to address the same thing. So, I do, looking at it from a neutral perspective, the way certain towns and cities in Canada have been, I would use the word, forced into taking in a lot of Indian immigrants is, worrying on behalf of the Canadians and not very fair, right? But of course, Sikhs or Indian immigrants in Canada are not forming gangs and going around targeting non-Sikh children or anything like that. Is it overwhelming for the Canadian natives? Yes, it is. Is it unfair?
Yeah, but Manny, I know some
way their culture. Yes, it does. No, but I'm just saying that we have to be fair. We can't just.
I'm agreeing with you, because I know somebody that their relatives in Canada who's like a second, third generation Sikh family, and they're saying it's too much. Like, people are coming in such quick droves. Like, literally, you're talking about like masses of immigration from India in one go. And what happens when that happens is that it suddenly they can't. You need to stagnate immigration, because otherwise the people that are coming in big droves, they can't integrate properly, or it looks like they're not integrating. So in Canada, there have been Punjabi Sikhs there since the 60s, 70s, and they've had no issues. But even they are now saying that, it's too much in it. Like, people are coming in, they're not respecting Canadian way of life. They're bringing basically India over lock, stock and barrel to Canada, right? That doesn't mean that, you're against Sikhs or you're against Hindus or you're against this, but people, if they feel like their culture is being kind of like distorted or ignored, they're going to start going, okay, what's going on? And that's not even the white people saying it. I've seen lots of videos with the Sikhs saying it as well, like second, third generation Sikhs there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So just one more comment in regards to Ezra. I mean, I think I'm subscribed to his YouTube channel. I'm not too sure. I kind of don't really follow him or Rebel Media, or don't take much notice, because Ezra turns up every time Tommy has some kind of arrest and creates a new URL and says, help Tommy, or help fund Tommy, and go over here and donate here. I mean, I've worked out his business model, but that's not to say that he doesn't do good work, because I saw him and the Australian Jewish gentleman go over to Switzerland for the big globalist BlackRock thing, whatever it's called, and interview some real demonic dark people, and nobody else has done that ever before. So if you are funding someone like Ezra and his organization, you can be rest assured at least some of it is going to the right place. But going back to this Tommy video,
Yeah, but can I just say something? Just for one on there for 1 second. Why is it that when you're talking about, like, so if you read the comment of this guy, he says Ezra the Jew. Like, why is it always, when it comes to Jewish people, they always have to add in the Jew bit into it? Because the anti-Semitism that is rife within people, I've been so shocked that just general people that I wouldn't have thought would be anti-Semitic, and the things that they're coming out with about Jewish people is so insidious. Like, no wonder they need a state of Israel in order to kind of like protect themselves, because any time, there's some kind of scapegoat that you need, it's the Jew. Right, no one can ever take.
But if somebody called you Raj the Sikh, would you be offended at that?
Well, but the problem is, when you say Raj the Sikh, there's not a negative connotation or history of Sikhs being kind of singled out.
Yeah, I didn't read Ezra Levante, a Jew, as a negative connotation, because I'm not sure if he's religious, but let's just say he is. I don't have a negative connotation with the word or term Jew.
Well, maybe because I've been kind of in a rabbit hole of anti-Semitism for the last couple of weeks on TikTok, because TikTok is really vile and on a next level of degeneracy. So maybe because I've seen so much of it, people just openly talking about.
So who does that? Is it just the Muslim community that are anti-Jew?
Muslim community, hard left, far right, you name it. I mean, there's so much sort of like open anti-Semitism. You want to say that the Overton window is so openly just accepted. Like, I've heard people say stuff in the last couple of weeks that if you said about any other group, there would be absolute outrage about it. Like, well, now we understand why Hitler did what he did. And these are from people that you'd be thinking, okay, they're pretty decent people, but then you hear it, like, wow, like, that's crazy. And it's
this is why the Nazis, this is why the Islamists and the far left, which is practically the Nazis anyway, just get on so well, because they all have things that join them together, and one of those things is the hatred of the Jewish community.
Well, I mean, Hitler absolutely, if it come to a choice between Christianity and Islam, he basically said he prefers Islam, right?
Yeah, but he hated both Christianity and...
Yeah, he hated Christianity. No, he hated both, but what it was, he had some sort, like, he had admiration for certain aspects of Islam, which is the kind of, we will die for the cause, right? And we will get 72 virgins in heaven if we die for this cause. Yeah, if you think about it, it's...
Yeah, but Islam is a system. It's not really a religion. It's a system of subjugation, control, and suppression, and targeting of people outside them. It's just basically legitimizing the most horrific suppression that you can think of. All you have to do.
But the problem is, on TikTok, there's a lot of kind of Pakistanis that are kind of pro-Hitler, right? And I've spoken to a couple of them, and they're so deluded, because the thing is, Hitler hated Indians. And obviously, they're Indian, Pakistanis by ethnicity.
Why do you say Hitler hated Indians?
Well, he saw the Indians as a mixed breed, because he did believe that the original kind of Aryans were from the Indian subcontinent around that area. That's why he went to Tibet and stuff. But he saw that the racial mix of the Indians of today as a Mongol race, and he saw us as like comparable to a Slav, basically. Like we were like subhuman to him. Untermenschen,
But you
whatever
do,
it's called.
but you do realize that the Nazis did take in left-wing Indian soldiers into the Nazi army.
Yeah, I mean, there's pictures of Sikhs with SS uniforms.
Yeah,
Now,
so those soldiers were fighting for the communist side of the Indian nation.
yeah, I mean, but basically, it was the enemy of my enemy was my friend.
Yeah.
And I 100% disagree with that, because all that would have happened, India would never have got independence. They would have just given over India to Japan. And Japan, if you read their history, especially with China and Nanking and what they did to prisoners of war, were on a next level of savagery, right? And so they would have just given over the British Empire to Japan, right? They said they would, obviously they were trying to get Indians on their side to destabilize India, but they would never have given independence to India. That was kind of like a pipe dream that people thought they would, unfortunately.
Okay, let's get back to this video. So shall I start playing it, or is there another comment we're making on it?
Yeah, I just kind of want to see about the Sikh bit, because I was a little bit surprised that, on a big platform like Russell Brand, I was just listening, and the fact that he spoke specifically about the Sikh community in this instant.
Yeah, we know the British like the Sikhs and the Sikhs.
No. But the thing is, the problem is that I think, as a British Punjabi Sikh, we're in a rock and a hard place as well, right? Because you have the people on the far right, and I'm not talking about Tommy Robbins, because I don't believe he's a far right, who are like, oh, you'll never be British, you're not British, you're brown, you need to get out. And then you have people on the far left who say you're a coconut and a sellout and all that kind of stuff. And obviously there's a middle ground, and I'm hoping Tommy Robinson, I don't know, I'm going to be, I don't know if I should say it publicly, but my kind of confidence in Tommy Robinson is really low. Maybe I should talk to you privately about it, but certain things that he says and has done over the years has kind of made me kind of think, okay, I don't think he's the right person, because he makes judgments too quickly. Example would be with that immigrant family, the two black guys on the playground, and he posted out what's going on here. I mean, you find out first whether they were family members. Like, you can't automatically jump to that conclusion if you want to be ahead of a movement like he wants to be, right?
Okay, well, I'm glad you got that off your chest.
No, but is that not true? Is that not true?
Yeah, he's hot-headed. He's hot-headed. But
I know, but to be... But if you, my problem, and I keep on saying this, I think Tommy Robinson's done a lot of great things, right? Richard Inman, big up to Richard Inman especially, right? I really like Richard Inman. But the problem is he's prone to running with his emotions. And if you want to head a movement like this, you can't have someone that's this emotional.
Right. I mean, he's made one or two mistakes. Maybe even more than that, but
oh, dude, much more than that, man. God.
Well,
all right. So let
seem to be working from a list.
No, because I've been in this movement. Like I've seen, like with myself, I've been in the mix, right? And I've seen things, and I've called it out, and I've said, look, because my thing is this, right? I believe if you truly are a friend of someone, you should be truthful with them, right? And tell them, look, you're making a mistake, because you don't want them to keep making a mistake. And the problem with Tom Robinson, he keeps on making the same mistake, right? A similar kind of mistake. He's done this kind of jump to conclusions before assessing what the reality is, right? And he's constantly doing this, right? And this is just causing problems. Example would be a couple of years ago when there was 3 young white guys that got run over in this town, right? And it was a really sad case. And the guy that did it was a Hindu guy who was drunk. Obviously, the guy is a disgusting, despicable person. And when they run him over the 3 boys or something, they didn't start to say this was some kind of terrorist attack. And they even did a documentary on it. I even said at the time, this is not a terrorist attack. I remember saying to people, this is not a terrorist attack. You're just going to look silly, right? And what happens? It comes out it wasn't. But the documentary had been done, it's been taken out, been put online. And so this situation, you should wait until you know more information on the facts.
Tommy
right?
Robinson didn't create that documentary.
Yeah, he did. The 3 Boys documentary, yeah.
Nah, he didn't. That was James Goddard, wasn't it?
Was it Goddard? Oh, have you seen what's happened to James Goddard?
What do you mean? He's gone far right, hasn't he?
He's full on, like, absolute, a full on Nazi, right? It's actually quite sad to see, right? Because he wasn't a terrible person. Obviously, he was a bit, I never really kind of like, wasn't really close or didn't really know him. But I remember speaking to him and he said he kind of like said that, he's married to a mixed race lady. I think she was half Pakistani and he's got like, so, he's got like a quarter, like the kid is obviously, it's quarter Pakistani. So the fact that he's gone full on far right when he's got a family member that is not fully English, it just doesn't make sense. Like the stuff I've read on his Twitter is just absolutely disgusting and vile, right? Real nasty, evil stuff, right? I want to deport everybody. Well, what about your own kids then? Because they're not fully English.
Yeah, but I mean that's just a reflection of the IQ points, I suppose. And
this is I mean, I agree with you. One of the biggest problems. I know people are going to say I'm calling people dumb. I am calling people dumb. People are very, they're not savvy enough, like to like when you're trying to do a movement where you're trying to kind of like, highlight certain issues. There's ways to do it, right? And when you're giving ammunition to the media when you're standing like a yob, right? It's just counterproductive. A lot of times, in my opinion, I wish to God that next week that when he does the thingy that they've learned from a lot of stuff, and that the movement or whatever they're going to do is going to be a nice kind of unifying movement. Yeah, because I'm wishing him well. I just haven't got a lot of confidence.
About James Goddard?
No, Tommy Robinson. I'm talking about the thing about on 13th.
Tommy Robinson events we've both been to. They're always good events. There's no issues on there at all.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is going to be much bigger than any event he's ever done, right? You've got a situation at the moment where everybody's sort of like already kind of like ready for some kind of like march or something like that. Yeah, so this thing is just hit right at a perfect time. Like, when they say a perfect storm almost, can you really control that many people? Because there's going to be a lot of bad actors that are going to turn up that might want to hijack it, right? The real far right. So I'm hoping that they've got people in place to kind of, make sure things stay in check.
There's always far right at Tommy's events, but I think Tommy and his team usually do quite well to keep him at bay, no?
Yeah, but you're talking about the Tommy Robinson event. You have a couple of thousand people. I think this event on next week is going to start. It's going to probably be something humongous, right? And it's going to be very difficult to control the whole thing. And what's going to happen is, obviously, any kind of bad apples in there, that the media is going to obviously zoom into that and say, okay, this is kind of like basically the whole right. You know what they're going to do, right? So he's not going to be. I don't think he's going to be able to control it like the other ones. I got a feeling that I don't know how many people are going to come, but I think it's going to be like, and if the weather's good as well, that's going to add more people down there. So the more people, more. It gets more difficult to control, right? But yeah, I wish him luck in it. I just wish he would just stop being so goddamn hot-headed. But then again, maybe that's what's got him to the point where he can withstand all this stuff, right? For 13, 14 years because of his kind of temperament. Yeah, you can't be a wallflower in terms of dealing with all the abuse and stuff. Yeah, I mean, you can play a bit more. Is your mate Jordan coming or anything?
Yeah. He will be doing, mate. Don't worry about it.
What about Banksy?
Per se, Christian immigration from any nation works. Yeah, it does. Okay, there's a massive difference. The problems in London are not coming out of the Christian black community either. Yeah, the churches that are full, when they still have the family unit, there's not a problem. Okay, the problem does come growing up in Luton from Islam, which is what I talk about. And that again, Russell, just to make it clear, because I know some great Muslims who I've grown up with. I'm not saying every single Muslim is a problem. Yeah, that's why I say Muslims aren't the problem. Islamic teachings are. Although you used to be very liberal, I actually still say it's my liberal views that make me oppose Islam and its teachings. It's their views on women. It's the oppression of women, the violence, the execution of homosexuals. These fascist, violent ideas are core teachings of Islam.
Your people, man, your people.
They are core parts of Islam. But what's currently...
Sorry?
I said he was talking about your people.
What's my people?
The homosexuals.
You what?
Oh, did you know? Oh, sorry. Is this supposed to be a secret? Sorry, guys. You just,
Across this country is a tidal wave of nationalism and patriotism. Remember, people have been made to feel ashamed of who they are. We've lost our identity. We've lost our culture. And a void has been filled. And that void has been filled because part of the identity and culture we've lost is Christianity. There's been an attack on Christianity, an organized, well-planned attack. And not just on the family, Christianity. And when you have a country that has no belief, which is what we pretty much become, when you have a country that has no belief, you leave a void. Now that void can be filled by Islam, Marxism, socialism, communism, and all these other ideas become celebrated and pushed. And that's what we've seen. And something, as I talk about a British Revolution brewing, there's also a Christian revival brewing. And I saw on our first event, and the figures of young men attending church show this. The figures, and I saw something which I couldn't explain at the time. Yeah, we held our first event, Russell. I don't know if you know what the plan was behind the United Kingdom. I don't know if you followed it.
I think we've kind of got what we wanted from there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with him that if there's a void left with, because obviously the UK was a Christian nation. Obviously, I'm a Sikh, but I understand that the UK was a Christian nation, and once you take such a big component out of the land, it's going to be filled with other stuff, and then you're going to get like Jordan M's and stuff, right? And Hamzas, you are basically, white converts who are now, become Muslim and stuff because they want some kind of faith. So I kind of agree with him. They're going to go somewhere, right? And the ones that are doing the most kind of dawah, propagating their religion is Islam. So they're going to be kind of flocking towards there because it's the one faith that is all over the place, in terms of doing dawah and stuff. Yeah, wherever I go, I always see them in Stratford and stuff.
So if, say, we took the clock back to, say, just before COVID, and you had to choose where to go live, either in Palestine or Israel, where would you go?
Obviously Israel. Even now I'd still go Israel. I'd go Israel over any country in the whole of the Middle East. I would even Pakistan, over Pakistan, even though they've got religious sites there. At least I know with Israel, it's a democratic state. Obviously it's not perfect, but it's definitely much better than anything else in the Middle East or any of the countries I've just said. Right? Obviously, I'd always go Israel. I've got nothing against Israel. I think Israel has a right. I can disagree with certain things, right? But does Israel have a right to defend itself and to be there? Yeah, they do. I just believe that they need to be a beacon of, kind of like a beacon to the rest of that area of how to, run a country. And at the moment, the human rights situation in Gaza, I just don't think it's a good look. Personally, I think it's a very bad PR on them.
But what about, okay, fine. I'm gonna accept that argument. But what about all the atrocities of all the different Islamic empires and Islamic countries?
This is where it's gonna get controversial, right? Oh God, I'm trying to be PC because I've become very PC, Look, when they say bigotry of low expectations, I don't really expect much else, right? I really don't. When I hear Afghanistan is now a basket case, I'm like, oh, well, yeah, okay, I kind of expected that's what's going to happen, right? I don't expect that of the Jewish people because I actually hold them in high esteem, right? In terms of their intellect, their morality. They're very clever people. They're one of the smartest groups in the world, right? Hence why they have so much jealousy garnered towards them. So I do hold them to a higher standard. I'm sorry, it's like holding it. It's trying to. In a way, it's almost like me going, "Oh, well, you got a child, and then you got an adult." And the child, I might let things slide if they're kind of like pooing on the floor, right? But if an adult does it, I'm like, listen here, man, you're going to get a slap in the face. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And I know it sounds like I'm being kind of, not racist, but I'm not. I'm just saying that I don't expect much else, right? In fact, when I see a Muslim-run country that's doing quite well, I'm kind of more surprised. Oh well, okay, that's good, you know. But when I see a Jewish state, I expect it to be the richest state. I expect it to be the beacon of that area because of the way the Jewish people are generally, right, as a people. And I'm not equating that to race. It's a mindset. The Jewish people have a particular mindset, right? And they kind of, you know, they put education and stuff as priority. So obviously their communities are going to be much more prosperous if that's your mindset, right? Yeah, I think that was as PC as I could say. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, but I want to share a video if I may.
Yeah, go on.
Bear with me. Where's the video? There we go. Just un momento.
Do you know, before you go on, do you know if is Banksy going to that the march?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Oh, and is he going to be recording?
Most likely.
Live?
He's got nothing else to do.
Huge announcement, ladies and gentlemen. I am beyond excited about this. I've wanted this knife for a year.
You have a 12-year-old girl feeling like she has to carry around a knife, and there's a grown man going up to her, videoing her, and her sister is shouting, "Don't touch my little sister, she's 12." This is Europe. This is happening in Europe.
Muhammad becomes the most common name among welfare beneficiaries in Germany. And you can guess a whole bunch of the other top names under it are Ahmed. Pakistani brothers raped two 7-year-old boys in a mosque. They drugged and prostituted 30 underage schoolgirls. They cut off the toes of 2 girls who tried to escape. I mean, these videos, you've seen them. We can play some now. And they run up and go, "We're going to slit your throat." You translate, they're like, kill you. I mean, I could just play you hours of this. There's new ones this week. Beautiful white cliffs of Dover. Even when Nigel Farage has been out there recently, and here come 3 boats with 50 men on each. And they just hit the ground and go, rah! The backlash is here, and it is just beginning, ladies and gentlemen.
Does anyone even watch him, Alex Jones? I don't even know if anyone even watched him. But you know that story about the Scottish girls?
Yeah.
I don't know what to believe, to be honest with you, but there's been new information coming out that the guy that's is recording was actually Bulgarian, a white Eastern European, and there's 2 different stories. I don't know. There was one of the friends saying that the guy said you look pretty or you're sexy, right, to the girl, and then the sister said, look, she's only 12. But he then repeated, you look 60 still, which then kicked this all off. That's the one story, obviously, which is totally disgusting, if that's true. But the other story is that they just were, I don't know what happened, but basically the couple were just being harassed or something. I don't know which one to believe. But they're not actually, from my understanding, they're actually Bulgarians.
Yeah, but what I really want to point out here, lost it again. Right, so Pakistani Mir brothers raped 2 7-year-old boys in a mosque. They drugged and prostituted 30 underage schoolgirls. They cut off toes and 2 girls who tried to escape. The court found a total of 62 crimes. This happened in Leeds, UK. Illegal immigration continues to destroy UK. But, I mean, my thing about this is that I recently researched not just Muslim grooming gangs in the UK, but also grooming gangs and kind of other individuals doing this type of thing around Europe. And then I cross-referenced it to Islamic empires of the past. and also the current Islamic groups, including Hamas. And it's quite clear for me that they're all operating from some manual. And I think that's what people are missing, because if 2 different, or 4 in this case, 5 different empires from different points in history operating exactly the same, suppressing and controlling people exactly the same with mathematical precision, then they are operating from the same manual.
I think, there's a kind of a cultural aspect. I'm not saying Islam before everyone says this, where they perceive any girls that are not conforming to what they call kind of modesty as sort of fair game in a way, right? Like, so if you're dressing in a particular way, or you're this or you're that, you're then immoral. So in their eyes, they're going, okay, they're fair game. They're not what I call kind of like, people that should be, girls that should be protected. They're kind of fair game in terms of they see them as, lower. Yeah. Then you do have a racial component. I'm pretty sure the racial component's in there when it comes to how they see white girls and stuff, right? So I was talking, I think the other day on somebody on TikTok, right? This white lady, she seemed quite young, like 25. She wasn't a lefty per se, but she was saying certain things that I was like, okay, you're kind of like not understanding the problem, right? And she was trying to explain that, obviously she doesn't agree with people from different countries coming into the UK and not being vetted and all that. And I was trying to explain to her, if you have men who are 18 to say 30 coming into the UK, and they've come from a country where, let's just say Afghanistan, where women are not even permitted to go outside without being fully covered, yeah, including the face. And then you come to the West, and it's the first time you've seen women walking around freely. And then you might go out and you might see people in, nighttime and stuff, nighttime life, dressed in a way that they're not used to. They might not be able to control themselves because they haven't got the impulse control. Do you understand? And she just kind of like was like, oh, well, we can't think like that. And I was like, I don't think they understand how men sometimes think, right? And especially men that have been kind of like starved of anything for years and years, and then coming here and their brain's just gone into overload.
Yeah, why do you always reference that as if it's some kind of thing that should be noted? It doesn't matter if they're deprived or not. It's just not what healthy people should operate like.
No, I'm not giving a justification. I'm trying to explain that having men that have come from an environment that they've never seen women roaming the streets freely is a recipe for disaster. These people that are coming over need to be kind of like secluded. And I don't like to say the word detention camp, whatever it is. They need to be put somewhere where they can sort of like, you can figure out who they are, whether they're the actual proper illegal immigrants, immigrants that are coming over that are being persecuted, the ones that are not, and they need to acclimatize to the Western culture, right? Instead of just letting them freely walk around, because you don't know who they are when they're walking around or what they're thinking, right? And so it's almost like letting a lion out and saying, okay, the lion's bitten everyone. Like you're bringing people in from countries that don't understand freedom or anything, right? They're just literally coming from a country like Afghanistan and being plonked in the UK and then just walking around.
So, okay. So another thing that I need to pick you up on is not pick you up on, sorry, that's the wrong thing.
Sounds a bit gay.
So I find like people like, who can I say, people like Respect or people like Jedi that have this kind of complex where all white people are racist, right? So these type of personalities, they always tend to say or believe or want others to believe is that there's no way a white person would ever see you as an equal, right? You've seen that come from those type of personalities, right? So what is your opinion about that? Because I I kind of come across a lot of information and opinions, mainly from Muslims and the black nationalist community that say exactly that. Now, what's your opinion on that?
What do you mean? That whether what if we what are you talking about? Black people in general, or just minorities in general? Whether
So
we can be
whether or
seen.
not you we agree with this kind of weird notion that white people would never see non-white people as their equal.
Well, if you act like a moron, they're not going to see you as equal, right? Like if you're putting out a bad image and you're constantly saying it's the white man's fault that I can't do this and I can't do that, then they're going to see you as less because you see yourself as less, right? If you're blaming everyone else for your problems, then I'm sorry, you're going to be seen as a child, right? Or somebody that can't take responsibility for their own actions, right? And I think that's the problem sometimes when you have a situation where you have white people that have subjugated other groups, and then those groups are no longer subjugated, but they keep on saying that they are because they can't move forwards in some ways, but they're always blaming the white man. Then what's going to happen? The white man's going to start thinking, hold on a second, maybe, you know, I am better than you. That's why you can't go forwards because you keep on blaming me. Do you understand?
Yeah, I do.
Am I making sense?
I mean, look, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, my closest friends are white. So I've lived in different cities. So some of my many of my closest friends and people that I know are white. So I completely agree. But I'm just baffled that people in this day and age think like that. And I just think it must be because they themselves are racist deep inside, and therefore they don't really see white people and others as their equal, and therefore they just seem the world is a mirror, so they're really reflecting their own personal beliefs onto the world.
I mean, look, I'm going to go back to the Jews, obviously, because I'll keep it going back to the Jews. But I was watching have you heard of Nick Fuentes?
Nick Fuentes. Oh yes, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So he's a really funny person, right? But he's got the most vilest views, right? But it doesn't mean he's not right certain times here. It just means that he is a neo-Nazi outright and a Catholic. Not even Christian, he's actually a Catholic supremacist. He believes that the USA should be run on Catholicism, which is a problem because the Pope would then be the head of the state, right? If it's run on Catholicism. You could say run on Christianity, but always is Catholicism, right? But the thing is with him, he'll go on about black people. So he'll say, black people are always blaming white people, and why don't you look at yourself and take responsibility? On this next breath, I'm not joking, he'll go, well, the Jewish people are controlling the government and the white people, and they're subjugating us. So this is kind of like cognitive dissonance with these guys, that on the one hand, they will tell black people, stop blaming white people. But the neo-Nazis, and I'm talking about the Nazis especially, because he does classify them as a Nazi, they are constantly blaming the Jews for all their problems. So they're just as bad. They have an inferiority complex over the Jews, though. Do you understand? The same way that, you're saying, if a black person keeps on blaming the whites, there's some sort of inferiority complex, then a neo-Nazi constantly blaming the Jew, they didn't have an inferiority complex over the Jew because the Jew is very successful. The Jewish people are very successful. It's the same mindset.
Yeah,
it's a victim mentality, basically. If you look at Hitler and Mein Kampf, everything was the Jews' fault. Them losing World War One, the economy, this, that. No self-reflection about, okay, maybe it was an incompetency of the army, or maybe some of the generals or whatever, the state. It was always the Jews stabbed us in the back. And that in itself is also an inferiority complex. I reckon Hitler, really, really, hated the Jews because of the success of the Jews. And that then breeds this kind of okay, these people are my enemies afterwards, because you become so jealous. But I do agree with you with people out.
I learned recently that he thought at the end that he had won because he believed he had killed so many Jews. So he thought his war effort was a success, even though he was about to lose the bigger war. His obsession against the Jews was really his number one motive.
But one thing I found about anti-Semitism that is very unique compared to every other bigotry is how it infects the mind of a normal person. And you saw with Hassan, I mean, I really used to like Hassan Yilmaz, right? But
Yeah.
he got so infected. Remember, I used to be with him like every Sunday for like 10, 12, 13 hours, right? And
Yeah.
he never spoke about the Jews. I never ever had a conversation with him about the Jews. Then all of a sudden, somehow, he got this: the Jews are behind everything, and every conversation after that was the Jews. Yeah, he could not stop with the Jews, right? And it just became like a virus in him, and nothing I could say to him, nothing I could do with him, could get it out, right? And this has happened to lots of people that I've spoken to over the last year or so, where their fixation with the Jews is like so. I just don't understand it. Now you might, I know some people might say, because they're the chosen people, right? And you know what? I don't believe it, but the way people act, they do act like they're the chosen people.
Yeah.
They act like, no wonder, if you're constantly saying this one group is, because I was in a chat with somebody and I was like, you're acting like the Jews are superhuman. Like the way you're talking about them is like they got mind control. They can do this. They can fly. Obviously I'm trolling a bit, but the levels that people are speaking about them, I could probably, if I was a Jewish person, I'd start thinking I am the chosen people because, no matter what, we've been through, we've managed to survive. We're now a prosperous nation, and everyone thinks we can do this. Then maybe we are. Obviously, I don't believe that, but I can understand why people might. Oh, Lubna.
I want to play this recording that she received via Twitter.
Listen to this.
Yeah.
I've just come across your video, the British Pakistanis fuck your entitlement, and I have to say it's one of the best things I've seen in a long time. I'm a British Pakistani. I've been here. Well, I was born and bred here. Father came over in the early 60s, and obviously it's home. England, Britain is home, and it fucking pisses me off so much when you get these Pakistanis who are like, oh yeah, we've got a goatee in Meadbur, or we love Pakistan. It's like, well, if you love Pakistan, fuck off to Pakistan, innit? Do you know what I mean? What the fuck are you doing here? So, it really, really, I've been thinking about that for a while now. I do go back regularly. I go there and, go and visit that. But this is home. And I was on a flight last October, and there's this older guy, Pakistani guy, sitting next to me saying, oh yeah, I love Kashmir, this and that. And it pissed me off. I said, well, if you love Kashmir, why the fuck are you flying into Birmingham? Fuck off. What's wrong with you? That video really struck a chord with me. What I will also say, Lubna, is I've never really come across your videos before until now. But there are a couple of posts where you say, you're trying to stick up for white English people, so don't be racist to me. These guys, it's not that they don't like you. They don't like anyone who's not white. And, people like us will never be accepted by them. So just live and let live at the end of the day. That's the mantra. But I do agree, having all these Paki immigrants coming over, all on fraudulent care visas, it's a joke. There's no war going on there. People are selling their whole livelihoods and their land and everything to come here for what? To be fucking Uber drivers and shit like that. It's terrible. It pisses me off. But one thing I have realized, and I think I'm a bit older than you, one thing I've realized is that you can never appease what would you call it? The white population of the country. It is what it is. England and Britain, to a certain extent, has been made up of immigration for hundreds and thousands of years, and we're just the latest batch. So that's why I slightly disagree with you in terms of trying to adhere yourself to these people too much. But I agree with what you're saying. These ungrateful Pakistanis coming over, it pisses you off.
Now, I wasn't sure what.
So that was a classic example of somebody that has kind of a lot of hatred and racism, just kind of trying to manipulate another person. Because I think that recording of whoever that chap was trying to manipulate Lubna into thinking that. And like I said, I'm one of those people where most of the people around me, are my closest friends, I would say, if you like, are British white people. So and I know them very,
Am I
very well.
the only token Asian in there?
Well, put it this way: there's only one person who's got the key to my house, other than the actual people that live here, and that's an English white person.
Oh God. Oh God, I'm the token Asian in your friend group. That's nice. Thank you.
I don't classify you as a friend. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm like the brown lucky. Then you probably talk about me. Well, I got this Sikh friend. I can't believe it. He's in the UK and he's wearing a turban. What is he doing here? No. But the thing is, with Lubna, like, yeah. I mean, the thing is, I've heard a couple of her videos. And she does speak a lot of truth, right? Like, it is hard to speak about your community, and because what happens if I say the Sikh Punjabi community has got a alcohol problem? Obviously, some people are going, "Oh, why you?" But you have to sometimes, openly accept that, when your problem has a problem, right? The problem with the issues with the Pakistani community is that their problems in their community are not insular. So a Sikh community having a drinking problem is normally quite insular in terms of the Sikh community. It doesn't affect other communities. The problem with the Pakistani community, their bad apples has a direct effect on different communities, like with the grooming, with the extremism and all this kind of stuff, right? Because a lot of the extremists that have come out, from Luton, most of them from Pakistan and stuff, and all this kind of stuff, and it's sort of like, trying to restrict free speech and all this kind of stuff, right? But I have heard her say some pretty weird things, to be honest. I can understand, as much as I disagree with the way she's been treated, but she has some silly things. I don't know if you've heard it, but she said one or two things I can understand why some people might go,
I can't watch more than a few seconds of her videos, if the truth be told. Yeah. I don't mind her. I just think that she's lost, and I think a lot of people, like I have been in the past, being a bit ignorant of exactly what the Islamic system is, and I think she's one of them. She seems to think that she can find a solution by talking about it, and now she's realizing that you start talking about it, you're going to be targeted, because there's a bigger system controlling that system, and they're all,
but the thing is that she's not always being truthful, right? I saw a video of her once, and the video was like, she was saying that, now she said this, some people may agree with this, and in some ways I do, but the way she said it was kind of borderline being kind of like really disrespectful, right? She was saying that where she's from in Pakistan, I think sort of like, I can't think she said Sindh or something, I can't remember, that the people there are more high class, but the people from Punjab and Kashmir, they're backwards people. They're the kind of like the dregs of society almost, and they're the ones that have come over, right?
Is she talking about Pakistan?
Yeah, she's talking about Pakistan, right? She's saying that people from her part...
if you're not from Pakistan, why does it bother you?
No, I'm not saying that. I can understand why other Pakistanis might start thinking, oh, then you're dissing other parts of Pakistan, because she was basically trying to say that her part of Pakistan, where she's from, Sindh, they're more educated. And this may be true, because we know that, the more people that come from these rural kind of places of Pakistan, like Mirpur and Kashmir, they then do have a kind of like backward mentality, right? So, but it's just the way she said it, right? And I think people probably have twisted it into her saying that she's kind of better than everybody else, right? Because from what I've heard, but I've never heard her say anything really bad about Islam or anything. I've not heard her critique the religion per se. So I can't think exactly what she said apart from that. That's got her so much backlash. But she hasn't said anything.
I've got something for you, Raj.
Yeah. Where's your mate Jordan?
I published a letter, and Elon Musk picked up on it.
Billionaire Elon Musk and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer are embroiled in a war of words over Starmer's alleged role in covering up the grooming gang scandal that's rocking Britain.
These girls were just sacrificed in the name of community relations, but it gets more sinister. Children were being dragged from the school gates into cars, piled with drugs, ganged and trafficked across the country. And when the authorities knew, they covered it up. And when the politicians found out, they facilitated the cover-up. Do you fear for your life? So it's a warning. We know where you live. All of that took place, and Greater Manchester Police have been working actively in partnership with senior politicians and the Pakistani gangsters aligned to them, because we now know, Winston, the council set up a child brothel. There are people sat in government to this day who would be in prison.
People don't care about political correctness. Give a fuck.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah. I think it would expose the Prime Minister.
To the extent that if you call it racist,
you're part of the cover-up.
You're part of the cover-up, and you're part of the problem.
The cover-up is racist because the victims are white working class. There is a dark history to the emergence of Pakistan as a nation. They set up camps. And what you're witnessing here, genocide. All cultures are not equal.
Raja Mia, I've heard of him, but I haven't really seen these videos. Yeah, I mean, is he Pakistani?
I think he's Bangladeshi.
Oh God, Bangladeshis 100% know what happens when you go against Pakistan. I mean, you're talking about 300,000 women raped, 1.5 million people murdered in the independence of Bangladesh. So they've had the first hand sort of, and there was a lot of racism involved with that as well, man. You know, the crimes committed against Bangladesh, because they saw Bengalis as lesser than them, right? And they were kind of like, they saw them as kind of like basically lower caste kind of people. So that's why they kind of committed all those atrocities and stuff. What's happened to your mate Jordan then? I thought I was going to have a conversation on that.
I know he was going to be late, but this is just taking the mick. I just can't stand you keep asking me every 5 minutes. What do you want me to do? I've messaged him twice. Do you want me to get him on a WhatsApp call so we can all have a group chat?
Yeah, but I thought you had like kind of like control over your people that come in. When I turn up 1 minute late, oh, look at Raj, he's turning up late. Oh, he's always late. Don't worry, we'll do it again next.
Listen, okay, let me tell you the story. So Jupiter said she's done a back out. She'll try to come on, but she might not be able to, so she hasn't come. Banksy gave me the thumbs up, but that doesn't mean he was going to come on. He might have just said, give me the thumbs up for the message. Jordan said he was definitely coming on, and he said he would be home hopefully by 8, but he had a car bonnet to finish. There was, so you said Khan was going to come on. So
yeah, he said he might, but I've spoken to him before. I really wanted to talk about the kind of like the religious aspect with somebody, because I think that component, if you don't talk about that, you're missing out. Because I was researching because I know quite a bit about the Christian side, the Judaism side of the end time prophecy in Jerusalem, but I kind of was researching the Islamic paradigm. Their paradigm is also very Jerusalem centric. So for them, they believe that end times Al-Aqsa Mosque will be destroyed, right, by the Jews and the Christians, and then when that's destroyed, the Mahdi and Jesus, they see, will come back, and they will then take revenge on, obviously the Jews and the Christians and stuff. And that's when the end times prophecy happens. So even with Muslims, this Al-Aqsa Mosque, I didn't realize they believe that it's going to be destroyed anyway, right? That's in their prophecy. So this is kind of like, no one's going to let that land go if you truly believe all these prophecies, right? Because each three religions has it as their kind of cornerstone of the end times. So how can you resolve that? If you leave that component out and you just look at it from a political point of view, you can probably kind of resolve it, right? But once you add that component, the religious side, it's unsolvable in my opinion. It can't be solved because none of the sides of the religious sides are going to give up Jerusalem. Am I making sense? I don't know, but that's why I wanted a conversation with somebody that has a bit more knowledge about the religious side of it. We can probably rearrange it.
That's Jordan, but this is the second time Jordan was supposed to come in, and he hasn't.
Oh God! All right, don't worry. We can probably arrange it for next week or something then, and then I can do a bit more research on it, and then you can. But because I do want to discuss that aspect of it. Because I think when people don't, and you're just talking about the whole situation, like even Hamas, Manny, one of the reasons they decided to do the attack is because they heard the red heifers were being readied in Jerusalem. Now, you know what do you know what the red heifers are?
Yeah, the sacrifice.
So there's a religious component to it.
Yes, but not on the Islamic side.
No, there is, because they believe that Jerusalem and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, that the Israelis, they call them the Israelis, will take control and they will destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque at the end times in Jerusalem. And then once that happens, their thing, and Jesus will come. So they also have Jerusalem as the kind of center point of the end times, right? Each one has a different reason for Jerusalem being the center point, but it's Jerusalem in all three religions.
Yeah, which one of the two explanations is likely to be the one that God wants?
Look, I'm not from the Abrahamic faith, so I don't believe any of them. I'm just trying to look at it from an objective standpoint, right? Looking at it from the outside and trying to think, why is it that you have this small bit of land that has been fought over for thousands of years, right? And it never sees peace for a long time because you have this religious component of this piece of land being central to each faith, right, in the end times.
So who's been fighting the wars there?
Well, I mean, you've had the Crusades, you've had, obviously, over time, you've had the Ottoman Empire took over the area as well for a long period of time. Obviously, what's happening now as well. I'm just trying to look at it for, I think, because people talk about.
So will you agree that because Judaism is in the First Testament and Christianity is in the Second Testament, we can agree that the Judo-Christian faiths can be combined in one in that respect?
What the problem is the problem with this is that the Christian view of the end times is actually anti-Jewish, not anti-Semitic. It's anti-Jewish in the sense that they believe, for Christianity, the evangelical Christians believe that, and if I've got this wrong, someone say to me, that they believe that when the Temple Mount is recreated, obviously you have to knock down Al-Aqsa Mosque in order to do that, that the Messiah will come, the Jews will have the Messiah coming back, right? That their Messiah will come. But the Messiah that's going to come, the Christians believe is not the Messiah, but is actually the Antichrist pretending to be the Messiah. And so they got a prophecy where he will be destroyed, right? And then the Jews will come to realize that they were actually worshipping the wrong man and that Jesus Christ was actually the Messiah that was sent before, right? So it's kind of like, it's a weird thing where the Jews and the Christians have joined up in terms of this because they have like a similar kind of, obviously they're more aligned with a lot of stuff, but it is actually that the end times, that Jews will be persecuted at the end times by the Messiah, right? Because they've chosen the wrong one. I don't know if you've heard that before.
Yeah. And basically what the Bible says is God has, in a way, blinded the Jews from seeing the truth because their inability to recognizing Jesus as their Messiah has basically given way for non-Judo, believers of God to be able to find God. So that's kind of helped, because then Jesus could go out and start converting non Jews and bring them to God, right? So it's all part of the same system.
Yeah, but my thing is, obviously, like for myself, I'm not Christian, so I don't believe in the whole prophecy thing. But it's interesting to me in terms of just thinking about it, because obviously there's this kind of it's affecting real life. It's not like there's this prophecy which doesn't affect anything. It's just in a book. It's actually affecting how people behave. And so you have a situation in the Middle East where, because of these prophecies, people are behaving in particular ways. Like you have the evangelicals in America funding Israel because they want the Temple Mount to be created, and they want the Jewish state, right? They want Israel because they believe that in order for the Messiah to return, is that the Temple Mount must be recreated. They must have the false Messiah coming down, and then Jesus will come to destroy that false Messiah. And so, but the Jews also want it because they believe their Messiah is going to come by creating a Temple Mount. And the Muslims, they don't want it, but they believe it's going to happen, that the Al-Aqsa Mosque is going to be destroyed. Yeah, and what's going to be built on there is going to be the Temple Mount. So all three of them are connected, right, in terms of this end time prophecy. And this is what I think the component that people leave out when they're talking about the Middle East conflict. If you take this component out, I think you can't logically reason what's been going on there. Like, you need that component in there to understand why some people are acting the way they are. Do you kind of get one? It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy for me personally.
Yeah,
I believe that people.
When you say self-fulfilling prophecy, I'm not happy with that term, because you've used it and a number of times in previous conversations. By you saying self-fulfilling prophecy is also it almost feels as if you're being a bit of a chicken and ignoring the fact that this could be exactly the agenda that God has paved before us, and that's why we're fulfilling it, rather than.
Oh, Manny, I didn't know you were so sensitive. Well, the self-fulfilling prophecy could be either. I might be wrong, and you might be, and it might be a real prophecy. I'm just saying that there are people in this world that are fueling this kind of prophecy, right? It might just naturally come, but are people supporting Israel because they want this prophecy to happen? Yes. There's no doubt about it. I've heard sermons. I've seen videos of evangelical Christians saying that, we must support Israel because of this, that, and they're funding money into Israel. Without the money that they're getting from America, there is no way that Israel could have withstood the amount of attacks that they had, right? So when I say self-fulfilling prophecy, I'm not saying that necessarily that's the only reason something might happen. I'm just saying that this kind of biblical the end time prophecies has real life consequences, right? When people are behaving in particular ways, right? Do you get what I'm saying? It doesn't. I mean, I might be wrong, and it may not be a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it might be something that just naturally happens no matter what, and that's what God willed, right? But obviously, I'm not from an Abrahamic faith, so I don't believe in this situation. But I can look at it objectively and see, look, this is a kind of like a perfect kind of storm kind of situation, right?
Have you ever been to a Sikh wedding and somebody from the groom side start dancing and they start putting a glass or some kind of object on their head and they start dancing and doing the dance? Have you ever seen that? Yeah,
and I think it's stupid. That's why I don't go Sikh weddings, because everything about a Sikh wedding is anti-Sikh. Like you go to the Gurdwara and everyone's doing stuff that you're supposed to be doing in the Gurdwara, and then everything you're not supposed to be doing, you're then doing at a party. So I just given up on Sikh weddings. I just see it as a whole kind of disrespect, to be honest with you, because they're not actually even they can't even wait 30 minutes to start drinking. Like I've always said, if you're going to do a wedding, do the wedding, and if you're going to do a party, do the party maybe a week later, but they need to do it at the same time, and it's just like stupid, and it's just like idiotic behavior, and I don't even want to kind of like, get involved in that kind of stuff, man.
All right.
It's embarrassing.
Well, I can't wait to invite you to the next party that I organise.
I don't go to Punjabi weddings. I find it distasteful. Like when I was younger, I remember going to a wedding, right, and I saw the groom. He had a long dari. I thought, oh, look how religious he is and all that. And then I was quite young, and then I had to go to the toilet, right? When the party, there was a party afterwards, and I went into the toilet, and the groom had his bug on the turban on the thing on the sink, and he was shaving his beard off, and he was out of his head, right? And I remember thinking, even as a kid, what a stupid thing to do, right? Like, why can't you even wait? Like, you're just disrespecting the whole thing, right? So, and I say that to all weddings, to be honest. It shouldn't be it should be a ceremony where you're, two souls are meeting together. Not some place where you would act like debauched, kind of like Neanderthals afterwards, right? Obviously, have fun. I'm coming across as a bit of a stick in the mud, right?
Yeah, you won't be coming to my house if that's your attitude to having fun.
No, I don't mind that. If you're just normally just enjoying yourself, I believe that the marriage, whether that's in a church, whatever it is, right? When you're getting married, it's like, and you're doing it in a church or a good, it's something that you're doing as a kind of a holy union, right? And if you're just doing it at a registry office, whatever, but if you're using a church or anything, and then after you're behaving like 10 minutes afterwards, you're out of your head. I don't know. I think it's disrespectful. If I'm just being honest with you.
Fair enough.
Anyway, don't invite me to know your Sikh wedding or Punjabi weddings.
Thanks for the lecture.
Had to, innit? Had to. I know, but the thing is, when I used to drink, it wasn't so bad, right? But as I've stopped drinking, it's a freaking nightmare now. Like, going to weddings is like, did I tell you the story when I went to a wedding and there was so much meat? I'm a vegetarian, right? They didn't have a single non-vegetarian dish apart from a naan. And do you know what they had to do? They sent someone out to get me they sent someone out because the groom was one of my good mates, and he told them to go out and they got me beans. I'm not joking. I had to have beans and naan. Yeah.
Gosh.
Not a single vegetarian dish.
Why do you have to make it so difficult? Why couldn't you just eat?
What, the meat? I'm vegetarian. I'm not going to just start eating meat, am I? Just for the sake of it. So they were like, huh?
Are you a rabbit?
I'm not a rabbit, but at the end of the day, no. But I'm not impractical. If I was in a war or something, I'd eat whatever I have to eat to sustain myself. I'm just saying, at that time, it wasn't a life or death situation, so I'm not going to eat meat. But yeah, I'm just moaning about the because there's so much meat and alcohol at Punjabi Sikh weddings. Everyone thinks that it's the norm, but it's not. There shouldn't be alcohol at a wedding, in my opinion. Afterwards. So what do you want to do then? It doesn't seem like he's coming, Manny.
He's not.
So,
I'm gonna end the live stream. I'm gonna put a brilliant video on as an outro, but I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna have to reorganize this so we get Jordan on, and you two can have a nice little romantic chat about your research about the red heifers and what's really going on with that mosque, because he's got loads of information on it.
Yeah, well, that's who I wanted to talk to, because I just want to bounce off. But I don't think I've said any. I mean, from your understanding, what I've said so far from the kind of Judeo-Christian side, I haven't said anything that you found to be. And forget about the self-fulfilling bit. I'm talking about in terms of what's prophesied.
No, you and I are quite balanced. We you haven't said anything, and likewise for me.
No, I'm talking about the accuracy. No, I'm talking about the accuracy of what's going to happen in the end times, according to the Judeo-Christian side. Obviously, the Muslim side, I don't expect you.
Well, you're doing a bit of a pick and mix. You're picking and choosing from what you remember and what you want to say
from the Omen.
From whatever you've been reading and watching, it's a lot more deeper than that. I mean, there's certain levels to it, but it's not my speciality, so I don't really discuss it that much. What
is Jordan then? Is Jordan a Christian or just atheist? What is he? I mean,
he's a Christian. He's an ordained priest, but he's not a priest.
Okay, all right, that's all right. Make sure you make it happen next time. and I'll chat
I was
to him. It'd
trying
be
to
good to
get
speak to
another
somebody.
Christian lady on from Holland today, but she wouldn't come on. But then her laptop went kaput anyway, so she
Not a
couldn't
Catholic,
join.
not a Catholic, I hope.
I don't think she believes in any of the denominations. She's a strict follower of Jesus. So,
Yeah, but the problem is, if you're a Catholic or an Orthodox, they don't believe in the end time prophecy that I want to talk about. Because they don't believe that the Jews are the chosen people anymore. They believe that the Catholic Church has been woven into the covenant or whatever they call it. So it's pointless talking to them because unless
neither of these two follow any denomination like that, so it's not relevant.
All right, fair enough. Anyway, I'll let you be off, and hopefully we'll do it next time. We'll have that conversation about the whole situation next time.
Well, thanks for coming on, Raj. It's always nice to see you. I'm surprised you responded to my text message yesterday. So thanks for organising it quickly.
What?
You can now.
He's acting like Lana. I need to clarify. This is slander, right? Because the thing is, the one person I normally, some messages on WhatsApp, they go unread for like a week.
You're joking.
I'm not joking. Seriously, some people, I just don't, because the problem, you have to understand I've got these family groups, right? And they're tinging like non-stop. And I can't get out of the family groups because sometimes there's important things going. There's like 4 separate ones, right? Dealing with certain things. So they're constantly updating, and sometimes I miss the messages down below, right? But whenever I see your message, I don't think I let it go for more than, I think the max will be like a day max.
Well,
right? Can you confirm that?
Yeah, once it was 2 days. That was quite a while ago, and I was in the process of deleting your number because I find that very disrespectful. But then
two days once that's happened to you is like a miracle. Other people will be grateful for that. Yeah, they'll be like, "Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Raj, for replying." Now yours is normally at least within the 2 hour span, right? Because I normally see your message. I'm like, okay, let me respond.
You sometimes do leave it like a full day, but that's okay.
No, but that is seriously. If you see my WhatsApp, right, it's ridiculous. I've got one group that's called Mum's Health's WhatsApp. I've got another group that's called something else, right, with the family. They've got another one, Repair WhatsApp, right? And so each one, right, yeah, when it comes, they're always being updated every day. Yeah, I might have like 2 or 3, so it just blocks up the thingy, and sometimes I just don't see messages, unfortunately. And that's my excuse that I'm giving. Anyway, everyone, big up to everybody anyway. And Manny, why don't you do next week a live stream after the Tommy Robinson event on Saturday?
Okay, let's do that.
It'll review what's going on, because I don't want to. I don't think we're going to watch it at the time. Yeah. What we can do is like go over some of the clips after, like Saturday evening.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that.
Well, anyway, take care, everyone. Have a good day.
All right, thanks, Raj. And there he goes. All right, everybody, thanks for joining, commenting, and all the rest of it. I am now going to play a video as an outro, and I'll see you all soon.
forever.